Guru Kripa Kevalam. Namaste and welcome everyone to Satsang today. Sadguru Sri Muji Baba ki. I have all fresh material for you now. It's been a long break. No. Just the opposite. Same old stuff. Fundamentally, we're just saying if you were to recognize who lives in your heart, who lives in your heart, then you could not trouble yourself. It's all a case of mistaken identity. As long as you take that one to be a personal entity, an individual entity, you will suffer. And that one, same one is playing this game. And once that one comes to in the play, the part where there is recognition about what it truly is, then impossible to suffer. So all we do in satsang is come to a recognition of that beingness, and then at some point even check who is aware even of the being, that which we call the self that is aware even of the pure presence of beingness, completely beyond the considerations of birth and death, waking and sleep, all these opposites just don't apply. And that recognition, all of you will have today. The recognition is not in question. It is the resistance management which comes after that, or the conditioning management that comes after that, which gets to most of us. And whether we call it habit or conditioning or vasanas, it doesn't matter what term we use. So the recognition is undeniable, and we will check on that right now. And I don't want anyone leaving satsang today with the feeling that, okay, I didn't really recognize what he's saying. I want you to come up if you feel that, so that we can look through, because it's not possible for you to not recognize. It's only possible for you to misidentify the recognition when you benchmark it against some expectation of what you must discover or what must happen as a result of that. Clear what I'm saying? It can sound a bit academic, so I'll try to say it more simply. So it's not that the recognition can be missed. It's what you expect the recognition to be, which can confuse you. Or what the outcome of the recognition should be, that can confuse you. With me so far? So how many of you are non-existent right now? You don't exist. Anybody? Non-existent? Right at the back, Mira? Not existing? Even in full-on tantrum, you exist. You have to exist. Isn't it? You too. In big anxiety, all that happening. But first you have to exist for all of that to happen, isn't it? So that is what I'm talking about. Don't you know that you exist? Do you have to know it in your head? You don't know it. I mean, you may know it in your head, but that is irrelevant. Yes? But that existence is known in a different knowledge source, which later we'll give it a fancy word, but right now don't have to bother. So anybody who feels like they're non-existent can raise their hands, or they can leave the satsang. There's nobody like that. So this knowledge of being or presence or God is that simple. You see? Except when you become mental about it, mindy about it. Or when you want something out of it. Simple. Now, are you aware or no? You're aware? Finish. You see? Again, you did not perceive this awareness, and nor did you have to think about it. It is something which is recognized in a more primal way. So to come to God, to come to being, to come to consciousness, to come to presence is simply to recognize your very existence, your very presence. And to see that I am aware even of that, independent of being and not being, is to discover that pure self, the pure awareness, which is your very true nature, whatever your mind may say about it. That is the crux of all of this, and it is super simple, super simple. The rest of it is just dealing with but. You see, and that but is about desire. It is about what I want, even from this. So whether we call it expectation or resistance or conditions, it doesn't matter. Now your being, that is just being. Is it? It is just being. Without an idea of anything at all, how can it suffer? Try to, as your being, suffer without any idea. Anybody who succeeds can raise their hand. I want to see a being that can suffer notionlessly in the unborn. You can do it. I realize I can sense the buds are starting to rise. But stay with me for a bit. Stay with me. You can see that this being is untroubled. No? Is untroubled. This very moment, without doing any sadhana, pranayam, nothing needed in this moment, you are untroubled, unhassled by anything. Yes? You could have started 5 minutes ago in some deep sort of mental maze, as if I'm stuck in a big chakra view, but just simply to recognize that my being is just being, wants nothing, it needs nothing, it has no boundary, it has no limitation, it is not opposed to anything, it is not for anything. Just ask, who has lost me so far? Lost me anyone? Now, whose being is this? Who can say property of what? Whom? Whose being is it? Who does it belong to? Does it belong to your parents? Does it belong to society, your children, partner? Whose being is it? The idea that we take ourselves to be, the being takes itself to be, can it belong to any idea like that? Who can hold this being? Who can control it? It's beyond all these considerations, isn't it? Anyone not recognizing what I'm saying? And don't get into peer pressure. I'm not going to give you marks, passing, failing marks. Okay? Clear, no? So far clear. Okay. Then now try to make yourself suffer. Your being is just too free. It's not allowed like that. It's too free, too soon, too soon. Not allowed. So suffer a bit. How will you do it? How will you do it? So you may get a thought. It may say, but I am suffering. Or it's not that easy. He doesn't understand my life or my situation. Some thought like that you need, at least something. Isn't it? So believe it, believe it. Identify. You can do it if you try hard enough. Succeeding? kind of, sort of. Some have that expression. Like, if I really tried, I could, but I know what happens when I do. Yes. But even if you did believe, and even if you did suffer, right now, all gone. What kind of magic is this? You could have suffered for a long time, but right now, your being is back to full being, full power. So it is not in time. You are not in time. So you come to what I'm pointing to instantly, and whatever process has to be taken care of, let that be my problem. You don't worry about things that are in time. Let time be my problem. Let what is here beyond time be discovered by you right now. And whatever the mind will propose to you, saying, but what will happen when I leave Satsang, all that nonsense, let that be my problem. Yes? So the recognition of what I'm pointing to and the dropping of this conditioning, both are. My clicker is not working. That's it. Now, if you take on projects which you don't need to take on, which is to uh, make yourself always happy or stay in this state constantly, or some nonsense idea like that, you see, then you will invite yourself to become an object in time again, because then you're concerned about always and constantly and all these things in time. And what do you have to take yourself to be? To think that you have to always be happy, you have to take yourself to be what? You're not saying, oh, God's presence that is here should always be happy. You're talking again about yourself as a body mind, as an object in time, in space. But what you're recognizing yourself to be, this being, where is it sitting? In which space is it? Inside? Some of you saying inside. Being is inside, but inside what? I can tell you that inside the body is just more bodily things. Blood, flesh, bones. So it is inside you, but not in space. Inside you, but not in time. And therefore, we have to use terms like inside provisionally. Actually, to what you are, there is no such thing as inside or outside. Okay? Now, that's it. That's all that we need to really say. But one important tip I want to give you is that if you go to the wrong instrument, you will only get the wrong measurements. Okay? So, what are the wrong instruments for truth? As we call the truth, what are the wrong instruments? What are the wrong instruments? Everything that you can use is the wrong instrument. Everything you think you can use or try or put effort, you see, that's why I say if you try, you've already gone too far. If you're trying, you've already gone too far. So anything you can use, which is I can use my sight, Where is it? Where is it? Where is my self? I can use my sight and I can look for everything that sight can go to, but I will not find the self. Same with hearing, same with touch, same with taste, same with feel, same with everything. Okay, so understand that. The second thing is that you can use your head. I will think of God, I will believe in God, I will convince myself that I am Brahman itself. It will not help. That is the wrong instrument. Anything else you got? Any other tools? You can try and use the body, do some hatha yoga and pranayama and things like that. It may make you a little peaceful, peace of mind, all those things may come, but it is not so that you come to the direct discovery of God. What else can you use? You may say, I can use my intuition, but actually you can't. You can't use your intuition. When you stop using your other stuff, then intuition is apparent. You can't go to a Miss Intuition and say, Intuition, please help me. You see, I'm going to use you. Another child, she wrote to me the other day, she said, I'm trying to intuitively grasp something. See, and this is when this point became apparent here, that actually it is another mind trick, subtle as it may be. Because the minute we say, I'm intuitively trying to grasp something, it is not intuition. The mind grasps. Intuition doesn't need to grasp. Divine intelligence, your true intelligence. There's no question of grasping over there. So grasping is the way to suffer. So don't let your mind convince you that, okay, I'm going to try and use my intuition about this and uh, and try to solve this with my intuition or something like that. So that is one tip, that if you're trying to use intuition, it is not intuition. When you stop trying, intuition becomes apparent. Okay. And the second tip is, don't use intuition to try and be right. Oh, I went to my intuition, but intuition said it's going to rain tomorrow. You see, so or it was supposed to rain today according to my intuition, and then my intuition is needs some servicing or maintenance because it didn't rain today. It's not for things like this. So intuition will just guide you in a way that is most auspicious to you. It is not concerned with your idea of true and false or right and wrong. It's a very important point, because we feel like we will use intuition like a superpower in this world, and then we'll have some great mastery in this realm because we are intuitive. That is not the point. Your intuition can tell you something which is completely different from how things will play out, just because that was most auspicious for your growth. It is not constrained by our notional ideas of truth and false. Okay. So, but the main point is, if you find yourself like that, then you're not searching for truth. Forget about it. Okay? Seekers feel like, I only want the truth. I'm really all for it. You see, you've already gone too far. You're sitting on the truth, no? You're like, I'm going to spend the rest of my life looking for truth only. But see where you are first. What is here? Whose presence is this? So don't mistake egoic sort of stands to be truth or intuition. So whatever you can use, forget about it. And if they can get used in the normal functioning of life, and they will be used in the waking state, perception is bound to appear, and your thoughts don't have to stop. All that can continue. But try to use perception or thought for the discovery of that, which is prior to any of this phenomenal stuff, is impossible. Okay. So how to find it? Stop using the right instrument and tell me if you've not succeeded. Stop using the lens of the wrong instrument or the wrong spectacles. It's clear. As I've been saying these days, what do you find without your mind? If you found yourself right now, how would you know? I say you are all discovering yourself. That was the guarantee at the start of Satsang. Now, how do you know that you failed or succeeded? Either way. How would you know? Bliss has to be there. Forget about it. Body pain must go away. Forget about it. Partner who's angry with you should come running to your arms. Forget about it. How will you know that you found the self? So to expect perceptual byproducts to confirm our freedom is another trap that spiritual seekers fall into. And perceptual byproducts can seem very compelling. Close your eyes, ask yourself, who am I? And then all space, 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 space everywhere. Forget about it. If you can perceive it, it is not. Okay? Because when that space doesn't come after who am I, you will say inquiry stopped working for me. The inquiry was not what is space. Because who are you that witnesses even space? Is that spacious? Sometimes provisionally we have to use these words like space. But it's not, the mind can make like outer space out of it, but that's not the space. So if you cannot rely on perception to confirm your freedom, then what can you rely on? Huh? Nothing. Nothing. Are you aware now? That confirmation comes from what? It's just very natural. You see, when we say by itself, we're just saying it's so organic that we didn't really have to use our minds or our perceptual tools. You see? And because it is that organic, we don't value it. Most of humanity doesn't value it. You see? But that insight is your intuitive insight. We feel like effort equals value. You see? This is just, he asks, or master says, ask yourself, who am I? I look and I find myself to be this self, empty of all perception, empty of all concept. You see? But it's so effortless. What's the big deal in that? Because in the human condition, we've been taught that which you had to work hard for, you had to put in a lot of effort into, that is worth something. Everything else is not worth anything. But in this case, in spirituality, it's just the other way around. What is simplest? Simplest. Sitting where you are is simple enough. Yes, I am sitting. Hmm? Simple enough. What is one step simpler than that? I am. Even to sit or stand, you actually have to take yourself to be this body and then look at the perception of the body and confirm I am sitting without needing to do that. You can confirm that you are, isn't it? Is it just sounding like words or are you all with me? You are confirming that you are sitting. You're not confirming that, oh, some guy is sitting. No, I am sitting, isn't it? So I'm just going to mute everyone for a moment. Yeah. But I enjoy the laughter, but it's just going to interfere with the recording. So this confirmation that I am sitting. Now, first you have had to confirm I am before you can add sitting, standing, lying down, talking, listening, all that. All the verbs will come later, isn't it? I am. And how simply you confirm it. I am. This I am is the holy I. Is the presence of God itself. That's why suffering is actually a ludicrous sort of concept. God is sitting here in your heart. Let's you like just to be a bit poetic. In your heart, the greatest being in the universe, the only being in the universe, is there. And yet, after identifying, after taking itself to be what the mind is proclaiming, it seems like we are this such tiny, insignificant object. It's shaken by everything that can happen in life. Anything that the tiny object cannot be shaken by? Almost everything. Relationships, money, body, spiritual seeking. I'm not getting it. But even to say I am not getting it, I am has to be first recognized. So even in that one statement, as you traverse the statement, you got it. I. That's it. You didn't have to go any further. Then I am also no trouble. You're still at being. So being no trouble. Anything you add after that is where the trouble starts. I am getting it, but I get lost sometimes. Nonsense. I'm not saying you don't believe it to be true. I'm not putting you down that way. I'm just saying that from the perspective of truth, it's complete nonsense. So who is not here right now? I don't even mean attentively. Even to not pay attention, you have to be. So I'm not confusing being with attention also. You may say, I'm here, but I'm not being attentive because my sixth chakra was opening up. So I couldn't really hear what you were saying. See, but still, you have to be there to notice even that, isn't it? So you are here. Now, this you, if you take it to be body, mind, or limited in any way, you'll cause yourself trouble. If you don't take yourself to be any of that, there is no trouble. And to take yourself means you have to bring both attention and belief to some piece of nonsense. Both attention and belief. Oftentimes I use the example of bank lockers, where you have to turn the key and the banker has to turn the key and then the locker opens. So if you just bring your attention to nonsense, oh, I'm just this little old me, what's going to happen? You see, just with attention. But without attention, nothing. You don't perceive it anyway. It is attention is the light of perception. So once you perceive it, nothing can force you to buy into it. No matter how much the thought comes and says, no, no, I believe happens on its own. You see, I can't help it. You see, all of that stuff is taking yourself to be what? Not God for sure, not being for sure. You see? It's already selling to you that you are little old me. How can you help believing a thought? Belief just happens automatically. 10 years I've heard this. You see, 10 years I've heard this. And yet all the masters tell us the same thing. Guruji says, don't identify, don't log in. Now, if it is not possible for you to do it, why would he say that? I say, don't believe your next thought. If it is not possible for us to do as consciousness, why would we say it? Bhagavan said, only one choice you have to make, which is not to go with your stream of thoughts. And Papaji said, keep quiet, which also meant the absence of egoic belief, not the words coming out of your mouth. So all the masters are telling us the same thing. Do you feel like they're that silly to keep repeating this pointing, but you can't do it? So the masters spend their whole life sharing this with you, but actually they know you. You see, there's one difference between how you are hearing it and how it is being said. You are taking yourself to be a body mind. The masters are saying we are one consciousness. Consciousness speaking with consciousness. Everything is in the will of consciousness. Belief and attention report to consciousness. So it is completely up to you as consciousness to let go of the limited notions which its own by its own design of the mind is producing constantly. Nothing can force consciousness to identify. So being independent of these notions is freedom. Taking itself to be definable or conceptualizable by any notion is apparent bondage, not really. So that's the game that is going on here. Now, what can be left? Recognition, simple. Are you aware now? Some of you may be new, so you can ask me, because many of these kids have troubled for many years with this question, and now they're nodding vigorously when I ask whether it is apparent, but it wasn't always like that. So either they've started to become nicer to me or they something has shifted for sure. Or they've like reduced honesty levels. The trick in this question is that your mind will not admit to its success or potency. It may also, but really not full-heartedly, because it is not witness to it. Like it can stake claim over measurable things. Maya is that which is measurable. So over Maya, it may say, yes, yes. What is the color of the shawl in his hand? White, then it may have a judgment, white is good, cream is better, last year he had a green. So all that can come from the mind, you see. But based on something which is measurable, which is perceivable. You see. But because your discovery of yourself as awareness is not perceivable and yet completely confirmable, that's why the mind says either no, nothing happened, or it cannot be that simple. And it can play with it as doubt with you for many, many years like that. You are just nodding and ask, but actually you have not discovered yourself. You are not finding yourself. What are you even doing here? Listen, they will play with you like that. Listen, try to bully you in that way. What are you doing here? Just father asks, and everybody says yes, so I have to say yes. But what have you discovered? Tell me. Then sheepishly we go to the mind, but it is not expressible. It's not, I can't speak about. The power is missing, because it is a habit in the human condition to take seeing to be believing. But yours, the seeing, the recognition of awareness is not dependent on sight. It is that which is aware even of sight. So I've seen in the movement of this expression also, and especially in the sharing of satsang over the last 10 years, initially there was a lot more explanation happening about the mechanics of attention and belief, and trying to make an intellectual sort of offering so that you could understand. Now, don't play in the wrong playground. Don't use the wrong instruments. You will not get it with that. It is impossible to not get with the right instrument, and it is impossible to get with the wrong instrument. That's, if you want to discover some giant form of God as a huge, humongous perception, forget about it. It's like saying, uh, get a weighing scale and say, I want to measure the amount of light that there is in this room. You do it. Same way, get a weighing scale and say, how large is this room? So trying to use the mind and perception to find that self that you are is to use the wrong instrument. So don't rely on those for a moment and tell me if it is not apparent to you the truth. Don't use your mind. Don't rely on your senses. Now, and even for the confirmation, don't rely on your mind. I'm the only one finding it funny. But you see, what we do is we say, okay, I'm going to let go, let the thoughts say what they want, let my perceptions be whatever. Now, what is happening to me? Who is going to confirm that? Who will we rely on to confirm that? Not the same ones, no, not the same instruments which we let go of. We do that often. We like let go, then what am I perceiving now because I let go? Or we let go, and then you're like, okay, is it clear to me? Who am I? Am I Brahman? Am I Brahman? It's not like that. So neither to recognize nor to confirm, you can use the wrong instruments. Some of these are subtle things, although I'm making fun out of them. But we do this often to ourselves and trouble ourselves. So I say, okay, check. I say, okay, I'm checking. No mind, no perception, independent of all perception. Then you say, okay, what's happening to me? Then we go back to Mr. Mind and say, okay, what do you think? What's happening? Not to do that. Nobody can see this because these are the subtle traps of spiritual seeking. How will you confirm whether you are discovering or not? Cannot be to go back to the wrong guy. No? The snake oil salesman who you didn't want to buy from. You don't go to the same snake oil salesman and say, "Am I doing a good job avoiding you buying from you?" No, you obviously you don't do that. But we end up doing that. That's why it can seem so tricky, the spiritual journey. So neither for the recognition nor for the confirmation, you use the wrong instruments. And if you're not using the wrong instruments, you're always 100% coming to the right discovery. It is impossible to miss. See? And if you're not waiting for confirmation from the bad instruments, bad in the sense, bad for this. Clear or no? Now feel without using the mind. Fail at this. Fail at discovering God or truth or yourself without using the mind. How will you do it? You can't succeed with the mind. That's for sure. At least all of you who've come here, or at least let's say most of you that have come here, should have already recognized this by now that using the mind, it is not possible to succeed in this search. Okay. Now fail without using the mind, lose yourself, or don't be clear about who you are without using the mind. Succeeding at failing? Yeah? Can't fail. Can't fail. Because the truth is so simple, but it is subtler than your mind can fathom. But it's not too subtle for you. Okay, succeed without using your mind. It doesn't even feel like success or some achievement or something. It's so natural. If it is the self-discovery, self-knowledge, the truth that you want, then it is just as simple as that. This is actually all the instruction you ever need. All the instruction you ever need. But if you want spirituality to help you want God, the darshan of God, so that then God can become your genie. Yeah? Forget about it. I want to find God so I can be happy. I want to find God so that I can experience bliss. I want to find God so that I can experience God. So you want to make God a servant to you because the discovery of God should help you. Never gonna happen. So I'm not saying any of this to make anyone feel guilty. Okay? I'm just saying that even though this may sound like the endeavor that we embarked upon when we started this search, it is time to let go of all of this rubbish now. You know what happens when we say, I want to find God so that I can always be happy? You want to make God a servant to you and you want to become God. God doesn't know what he's doing. Only when I find God, then God will know how to make me happy. So, some strange idea like that. Who is this about? Who is this really about still? After all these years of spiritual seeking, is it really about God or is it still about you? The instant it becomes truly about God, the seeking stops. When you stop putting conditions on God, the seeking stops. You stop thinking that God needs my mind's advice as to what to do, make me happy, Intent. But so this is just I'm highlighting them, but they're actually subtle ignorance. Just subtle ignorance, and feels like a humble search. Little old me is looking for God, and only when I find God, then I can always be happy. Because God is actually so egotistical that before we find Him, He will not make us happy. You want us to bow down.
This is a paradox.
Exactly what I'm saying.
Like I'm not happy, hence I'm seeking God.
Yeah.
In that process, I'm starting this process of finding God.
Yeah. So you started that's why I said you may embark on the endeavor with those kind of things, but if grace has brought you to satsang like this, then it is time to even drop that endeavor. Not so that you feel guilty about why you started, but you have come to a point now of your so-called journey that it's time to stop seeking God so that something can happen for you. What makes you so special? The non-existent one. How happy should that cat be? The cat was unhappy and that's why it came to satsang. Is it? So most of you know the blue cat story, so I'm not going to repeat that. But the point is that you may have come believing yourself to be a cat who wants happiness, but you come to a satsang like this and the mirror is shown and you see that there is no cat. You see? And after that, then to say, but I only wanted to see the mirror so that the cat could be happy. Please make the cat happy. But there is no cat. All of you will start to see the absurdity of the spiritual play more and more. And you'll find your own conditions about life and God and the self absurd more and more. So one says, reading it correctly, it is definitely about me, who identifies with the mind that wants to constrain God in the limitedness that it is. Now, it is God itself playing that way. God itself playing that way. There are no two beings. One master being God, one smaller being you. It's not like that. Advaita Satsang after all. So it's one being. Now it is playing, it has full potential and ability and power to play just as it wants. Now, apparently, it is saying, I'm tired of the suffering which happened in this play. I'm tired of this play for whatever reason. I'm starting to see through it, or there's too much suffering, whatever. So, God has full potential to also discover that. But it can squeeze out the ending of the movie as long as it likes, also. It's fully up to it. Anytime you feel like the movie's ending now, but it has another, 2 hours left. You can't say, especially in Indian movies, you can't say. So, So there's no way to define that. So you as consciousness can play with this as long as you want to. But what I am reminding yourself, consciousness reminding consciousness, is that nobody, no power in the universe is strong enough to force you. A measly thought that comes, you see, it may offer you the best relationship, the most money, the best healthy body, and instant enlightenment forever in one thought. Okay, it still cannot force it to be force you to believe. These are the four main buttons it can push. No, so it can give you all of those offerings, and yet it may cross your mind, and it cannot force you as consciousness to believe. So don't burden your spiritual search and the instant discovery actually with any desire, even though the desire may sound universal. I just want happiness, I just want happiness. What do you have to take yourself to be to want happiness? I just want to discover that I am all there is. Okay? I am Brahman itself, the Nirguna from which all this universe arises, so that this little body mind can be happy. What are we talking about? And just highlighting the absurdity of our spiritual mind. I went into meditation. I found that there is nobody here. Nobody here. Now what should I do? Huh? How come it's not as funny? No. You see the joke in it. What should I do with all of you? Whose being is it? Whose being is it? And the owner of the being, please reveal itself. Whose presence is in your heart?
Itself I, but it's not mine.
Ah. Yes. Are they two? So the I, which can never be contained by just something which is fiction, which is what we've usually taken ourselves to be, is how you is the expansion of what you said. What can appear here that can shake you? Something shaking itself. Many times wobbliness is experienced in the spiritual uh, process. I have no feet to stand on. What's going to happen? I'm going to die. Wobbly. But besides the perceptions which are shaking themselves, what else are they shaking? How are you being shaken in the shakiness of the perception? How are you being shaken? This space, which is unshakable, is just an appearance within the space that you are, which is not spatial like this. It's just an appearance within yourself, and you are subtler than this space also. So how can something like this shake you? They can't even shake this space. It's only if you take yourself to be another set of perceptions, then you can also shake. Yeah? Yeah. The you that is, it's not the you that is shaking. That's what are you saying that the manifest aspect of myself is like that? Correct, correct. So when we say that I am this phone, you see, then if I take myself to be this phone and as consciousness, I have full power to take myself to be whatever, you see, then something can come in life which will shake the phone. You know? If I feel like I'm the phone, then I feel like I'm. See, because that is identification. See, you can never identify with the truth. You can only identify with the false. You can only drop the identification with the false, and then you come to the truth. But you don't need to identify with the truth. In fact, you can't do it because it's not perceivable, and thoughts don't apply there. So it is not a question of switching identification. It is only a question of dropping identification. As Bhagavan clearly said, to come to the discovery of the truth, only ignorance has to be dropped. The self doesn't have to be attained. It is not something that you will attain or be convinced about. It is only that your misidentification will be kept aside or dropped away. Now you have the ability to identify with anything. Anything that you perceive. There's nothing so, I mean, it's very compelling because of the centrality of the visual perspective and the sensational seeming stimuli that seems to arise from the body. To take this object as the center of my identity. But actually, you can take any perception or even unperceivable things, this conceptual thing. You may get the idea, compelling idea one day that you're from some planet Galacticus or something, and you spend 50 lifetimes over there, and you may start getting some visions of having robots or parents or I don't know what. And if the idea seems good enough to you, you may say yes, that is my truth. The consciousness both cannot be forced to identify and cannot be forced to not identify. Like you may come to satsang 100 times, I may say don't identify, don't. But if you want to identify as consciousness, nothing can stop you.
But want is not anything
Yeah.
rational, Ananta. It's
Yeah.
not anything. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
like
it's not
the
right.
best object.
Yeah, it can be anything. Just that's why play is the only way to say it. Actually, it's not even a play, but because our mind cannot conceptualize God, you see, we have to say want or play. It's playing like that. It can choose to play. Actually, choice, play, want, aversion, none of this applies to God. But because we have to communicate in this human sort of way, that's why we superimpose, we make God in our image and then apply things like want and desire, and aversion and play to God, which is much beyond human
So
understanding.
in this sense, what you're saying is that it can any phantom idea,
Yeah,
it as the ego body mind we latch
Yeah.
onto and begin mining it as I. It's capable of that with anything.
completely.
And for no apparent reason except that it can
Yeah.
do that.
Because our reason is so small. You see, our ability to judge and reason is very small compared to the play again of God, which is another just word within that reason itself. You see, but because it is said that God made man in its image. Actually, man is making God in its image. So we are applying these human sort of constructs on God. You see, therefore we have to say it wanted to do that, or it wants to do this, or it is playing like this. You see, but these things don't apply. But because our human intellect can only sort of deal with these concepts right now, so we use them. So like the why is God doing this? Why is it troubling itself in this way? Some will say it's just playing Chidvilasa. Some will say no, it is evolving. Some will say it wanted to taste love. Some will say it wanted to manifest itself. But this is all applying human ideas of want and play, things like that to God. We're just too egotistical to admit that we are too stupid to understand God. It's too stupid to understand God. Why should we? Are we expecting the plant to say, okay, how does God function? Why did God create? Don't be silly. Plant can't understand. Yeah? Then what makes us so special? Yeah. I'm reading some of your comments. Now, if any of you wants to say hello, you don't have to pretend that we've not had this conversation so far and go back into some make-believe question. Okay, you can just come up and say hello. Because anytime you can feel like, okay, now I want to just talk to Father. We've not spoken for a long time. So, what was my question before I heard all that? Hello. Yes.
There was a thought that, am I forcing this raise hand? Is this,
Do you lose some weight?
did I
Lose some weight?
say, yeah, and then I put some back on. Yeah.
You look good. You look good.
Doesn't matter. I feel relieved that I feel relieved. It feels like proving myself to be right, or playing that game of right and doesn't matter.
Yes, yes, very good.
Yeah. There's such peace just already, before even beginning the game, of picking up an idea of yourself to defend against some other idea and all of that, and it's there's no need. There's no need. Um, and the mind came and had a fear of what might happen if you don't play the game, and
What are the options of what might happen?
relationships would end.
Yeah.
And or another option is that something would transform in the like something would kind of open up to deeper level of a recognition of awareness, and
What appears in the light of being? What intelligence controls that? That which appears in the light of being. What is the intelligence that controls that appearance?
it's God. It's the same as everything. It's like it's what's already here before any game is played. It's the source of everything. uh,
What could go wrong? Then, so what happens is the intelligence of God is projecting this movie. Now, within the movie, it is playing with this make-believe intelligence which the characters seem to have of themselves. Saying, projector is not doing a good job. I have to I have to be able to determine what is right, what is wrong. Therefore, the next scene, it should only have this stuff and it should not have the other stuff. So the projector is going its own merry way with its own supreme intelligence. You see, it is unconcerned with this apparent mind of these characters who it is only projecting even all of that. You see? But it is not dancing to any of those tunes at all.
Last night I was talking to someone, and uh, the mind was saying, presenting the idea that I had some kind of influence over how they were being, like my interaction with them would affect how they would act or speak or feel or anything like this. And I just, there was like a moment of, what if I don't believe that thought, and I don't try to control how they react or respond or feel or anything like that, and just watch how they play out, like how uh,
But there's a subtle trick in there, which is that once you don't believe the thought, is there a distinction between you and them?
it's like there's levels of thoughts that can be believed in. Like separation can be believed in without uh, the belief that this separate thing somehow affects that separate thing. It's like there's all these layers of beliefs that can be,
The absence of thought, in the absence of belief in thought, what happens to all the layers?
there's no separation.
So you may start with the endeavor like that, no, saying, okay, now I'm not going to believe what she's projecting onto me. I'm going to just play my own game, and I'm not going to believe the thought that I can affect her. You see, now I'm just going to become empty. Then what happened? Although the feeling was to start the game in that way, the minute you instant you become empty, what happened to all of that? All gone. You see, all gone. Then this one, this one, same, or even same or different are not concepts to rely on. You with me?
Yeah, the video paused there for a second, but
Nice.
I think I got it.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, yeah, I may say, okay, let me express myself more clearly to Mahesh. You see, all of that, and then they feel like, okay, how can I really? And then I may remember, okay, all things are perfectly resolved in the unborn. And, and
Mm.
where's the Mahesh? Where's the Ananta? Where's the computer? Where's Zoom? Where's
Yeah, yeah.
whatever
Exactly. So,
whatever the trigger may be,
mm,
emptiness just always takes care of everything.
yeah, there's nothing to solve. There's nothing to change. There's no need to change anything or try to control anything.
And not so that then my relationship can be better or worse or any of that, because none of
No,
that is anything.
no, because if there's no separation. So there's no gain or loss.
Yes.
There's no, this can be made better or worse. Do you know? Yeah. So Yeah. Mm. Yeah. What to say?
So nice, so nice, so nice. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to Atma Jyoti.
So Father, the usual, the usual again some I joined Satsang, again storms arise, like I don't know, like energetic, emotional, like
Yes.
same old.
Yeah.
But now by listening, somehow it was like, okay, following you, and I do see from a deeper space than it is happening in somehow. I see it, not here, but here I see it.
Very good. So what happens is that we even spoke about this, about the shaking at the level of perception, but how does that shake you? So in hearing the words of satsang, you look in a deeper way at what you really are, and you see that to be shaken, you have to have a shape, isn't it? The shapeless cannot be shaken. So apparently, the belief in our ability to be shaken itself is the belief in taking shape.
Yes. But most of this thing, like if I'm like by myself or something, it just like arises like with concentration or listening to something. It's somehow, yes, it is somehow was like seen like, but it's like first time it happened in satsang like that, because during the satsang I would never be able to see it. I don't know why. It's just like it felt like me, but today somehow.
And one tip I will give you is that don't make anything a better state or a worse state. Everything is just what it is.
Yes. But what I wanted to maybe again, it's like I know that it's an idea, but it's so ingrained that it's just like, that, okay, I'm experiencing a state of, I wouldn't call like suffering, but of intense storms. We all know this by now, right? Okay, this is being experienced here. Something here is kind of like, okay,
Wait.
maybe it will be
Wait.
like this forever. I can't do anything about it. I can't stop.
If you can hear, maybe let's wait. Now, suppose that initial construct, you see, which the mind may propose and say, yes, that is unarguable, inarguable, so inarguable that is how it is. Suppose we don't take it to be true.
That's the problem. From the experience so far, I know it is to be true. And this is where my confusion comes, because Moody always speaks about it as well. Mind will come. This will happen. And it's being experienced like that. There is something, storm comes very calm. But whenever storm comes, or this lately became like, maybe it not doesn't matter, but it's been seen from somehow deeper.
Yes.
And
So,
what has been happening right now, I'm sorry, I have to finish this.
Okay.
Is something like, something is almost like became attacking itself, that it's gonna come. You need to prepare.
Yeah.
You need somehow that I need to do something. And I see that this is an attack. Even right now, like during the satsang, again, okay, you see, it feels, okay, you see, it feels this, wait, it will get worse. You know, like,
Yeah.
and I believe because I experienced that, whatever an attack comes, oh, it was bad. Oh, wait a minute. They can be bad, and it's been proven and proven time and time again. So that's my experience.
Kind of inductive reasoning. So, okay, let's break it down really slowly. So, when we say experience, you see, we are talking about a bundle of perceptions, isn't it? We experience something. Now, what can be in the bundle of perceptions which by themselves can make us suffer?
Nothing, just my belief.
So it's not in the in the majority of the perception, but the one perception which is the labeler or the subtitler or the narrative, which says, okay, now this should not be happening to you, or I thought I would be over this by now, or why does this keep happening to me? And I've seen this happening to me over and over again. You see, which proposes this sort of inductive reasoning that the sun always comes out from the east, so tomorrow also it will come out from the east only. You see, so this kind of, then it puts us in this kind of merry-go-round. You see, but without the narrative, what is there?
No, I will say nothing, and it will feel true. But again, at the same time, it wouldn't feel true. Because this so stubborn something. No, I hear what you say, but like, no, it's not my experience.
Very good. So
it hasn't been for years. So like that. Sorry.
No, very good. I enjoy this conversation. So there where the yes and no and true or untrue are there, what aspect of your being is that?
None. None.
What is a mind, intellect, or what do you want to call it? You can choose your own term for it.
Pattern of thinking, maybe like that.
Thinking, conditioning, whatever you want to call it. So there, yes. It feels like our attempt is to admit over there, no, what Ananta is saying is true. But I don't care what happens over there, because even if you say it is true over there, the next moment it will be something else. So I don't care about that so much. Now, what is happening in the rest of you?
No, nothing. But it is, I know somehow it is being seen, but the seeing is not enough.
Let me tell you something subtle. Okay. Let me tell you something subtle. So when I ask what is happening in the rest of you, what many of you do is you recognize, okay, there's this mind intellect which is judging and saying, yes, no, I don't like this, or I like this. Either way, whatever it is doing. Then there's the rest of your being. Like that. Now, when I say what is happening in the rest of you, what you're trying to do is you're trying to take that experience through the lens of the intellect and then being able to make a judgment about that. You see? So then you can say either nothing or something, which can come only through the same lens of the intellect. Too much? It's actually very simple what I'm saying. So I'm saying that there's an aspect of your being which has the capacity to judge and say yes, no, true, false, all of that. So let's call it the mind intellect. Yeah. So, but that is not the entirety of you. Although we live as if it is, mostly, but it is not the entirety of you. So when I say, what about the rest of you, rest of your existence, what does it have? So what we do is we try to get a glimpse, and then we go back to that and say, there's nothing. See? But I don't want you to go back. It's not just to get a glimpse. It is for you to live. You see? So if you don't return from that question, then that is good. You see what I'm saying? Otherwise, we keep coming back to the supremacy of the intellect because we just use it. Okay, now I looked out the window. This is what I see. I see that there are 3 birds, but sparrows are very good birds. So it can make judgments. So we have not really left our perch. We're just trying to be like, we're trying to be the viewer and then hold on to what our judgment about something is. So, but when I ask you what's happening in the rest of you, leave that aspect behind and see if something forces you to come back to it. Leave the aspect of the mind intellect and just go on an adventure with me. God is here. Don't you have to believe me. Just adventure with me, explore with me. Leave your mind. What else is there? You don't have to use my term. I may say God, you may say something else. You may not say anything at all. But don't go back for judgment to the same guy. And if something forces you, then expose that. Now there is no time. Here, there is no time. All the inductive reasoning can be dropped.
I hear your words, I understand them, but like I can't drop it. Like
Okay, which aspect of your being is that conclusion being formed in? The whole entirety of your being is saying, I can't drop it. Is it like that?
no, it can't be like that.
Yes. Look, just look. Looking is enough actually. Don't have to do anything including dropping. Just look. How big compared to your being is the tantrum guy who's saying, I can't drop.
But it's serious, don't laugh.
Yeah. Everyone. Is it? How big is that?
Now it feels like it's taking all my space. Like it does feel like that.
Okay.
It's taking the room is full of it. My body is full of it. My mind is full of
Of
it.
the judgment guy.
Of this, like I can't drop it. I can't see through this. Like
Your fingers also saying, I can't drop it, I can't drop it.
the what?
The fingers also saying, I can't drop it, I can't drop it. The room was also saying.
It's more like it feels like it's closing in. Like the world becomes so small. Like sometimes I experience like this. Like
And what is getting left outside that closing in? You are not there.
I never looked at it. Okay, thank you.
Let's look. Where are you not? Can you find somewhere where you are not? And is every part of you protesting, I can't drop it?
No, it's like it now feels in the body like contraction, like something like.
Yes. But what's outside the contraction? Either outside or inside. Who's being contracted? Suppose you didn't ever have to fix anything in that aspect. Either it's get its agreement or it's disagreement. It's yes, it's no, it's true, it's false, all of that. Suppose you did not have to bother with it at all.
You think I heard what you said right now? No.
Actually,
Wow.
where do you have to see to confirm that? Like, how do you know whether you heard it or not? So Guruji says, no, I'm trying to do a mind bypass. So if your mind didn't hear it, how do you know whether you heard it or not? Let's go there. What is there which is the product of the bypass? We know what the mind looks like. It'll keep jumping, saying this, that. All. We are well aware of its complexity and complexion. What else is there to you? If I bypass the mind, what is left? And would you be able to look at that and confirm? Yes, I heard it over there. Or no, I didn't hear it there. Can you look at that and see?
I don't know, somehow I see it and I don't see it. Both. And then those both are being seen,
But
right?
what spectacles are you using? Like, are you using the lens of the same mind, intellect to say, do I see it? Yeah, yeah.
No, I'm looking at it.
Yeah. So with what? With sight?
No.
Not sight. Very good. Very good. Once you look without sight, you're with your intuition. So beautiful. Looking without sight. There's a look within. Bhagavan said, look, look, who are you? Look, he wouldn't say look, 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 look. You see? Look without needing sight. Look without needing senses. Look without needing to find an object. What is that looking?
Actually, the mind is not excluded from that looking,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it feels like
Okay,
that.
but suppose you have five children.
Child.
Suppose you have 5 children.
Yeah.
But you've looked at only one child, which is the mind, your whole life.
Yeah.
So I am the parenting counselor saying, but let's see what the other 4 are called. At least tell me their names. But the first one will protest, no, Mama, me. I'm also part of you. Yes, 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 you are. But what are the names of the other 4? That's the question.
So,
But then if you look at, exactly, and if you look at those 4, only from the eyes of the first one, saying, beta, what do you feel about the other 4? And that's not the question.
Yeah. Always he wants to come along as a contributor and as a value
as the main guy.
Yeah, but not just come along for
Correct. It wants to have a supremacy in everything, say in everything at least. So now I'm saying, okay, Mama, one child enough. Okay, tell me the names of the other 4 also. And 4, I'm just taking a number. Like the kosha. I'm not talking about the sheets of your vision. We could actually. But that's not the point. Is the mind intellect your only source of intelligence? Let me put it another way. Is your mind intellect your only source of intelligence? From which intelligence do you know that you are aware that you exist? Is that intelligence uh, only is it restricted to only that? Is it not the guiding light or possibly a guiding light to your entire life? Even though what may happen is you go to that intelligence and you see there's nothing to be guided. But suppose there was. Is that intelligence restricted? Saying, no, I am aware, I am being. I can't help you with anything else. For the rest, you go to your mind. Is it like that? Is it saying that? Let's look and see. How is it that the words of Satsang smell different from the words of our mind. Aren't they the words of your heart, and your intuitive insight? If your mind was the only source of intelligence, there would be no room for satsang. You're not coming here to hear another mind, hopefully at least. So what's happening with Atman Jyoti now?
Mhm.
Where will we go to find out?
Not to the mind, for sure. For sure.
So when we don't go to the mind, what is there? You don't have to actually go to intuition. You don't have to go to Satguru presence, whatever word you want to call it. You don't have to go there. All you have to do is stop relying so much on the mind for a moment. Then, are you lost? Are you found? Any opposites apply?
You know how it feels right now? It feels like the mind is very lost, very everything, and it says it's me that I am lost. I am this. I am experienced that. But and there is like a tiny bit of space. It seems like it's from it that is like.
Okay, now let's
Can
really
see
look
this.
together. Let's really look together. Now, the mind may be telling you that it has so much space, but now little bit of space and the rest is coming. But you actually look and tell me, how big is a thought? Mind is nothing, bundle of thoughts. How big is a thought?
Right now, huge. Right now.
Yeah, show me, yeah, how big is it? Is it, you can't see the hand, you can only see the thought. You can't see this beard, you can only see the thought. Ananta has
Well, I need to concentrate on your nose.
Okay, just look then. Okay, concentrate on whatever you're seeing. Just be with your perceptions. Okay, and tell me where the thought is. Where is the thought? Here also, thought.
Now nowhere.
thought.
Now.
It's now is important. Nothing else is important. You're saying, I'm everywhere. Actually, it's just a thought. Try to imagine the biggest thought you can. Can it take over the witnessing also? Is there a little bit of space is left? No, awareness is left untouched, and awareness is beyond all this space. A billion spaces like this will come and go, but awareness will not be touched. With the mind version, a little bit space is left. But who's looking at that? That is beyond space. You can't imagine your magnificence. Suppose every perception or just one big thought is all I'm perceiving, my attention is fully fixated on, but can never take over that side of attention. Who lives there? Who lives there? Who is that one? How big is it?
That is very funny because when you see this on other people, it's laughable. Like how you can't see it. Now I'm just like myself, like I see it, but I don't see it again. Like,
yeah.
I see that this is probably such a small thing, but for me, somehow it's just huge. No, okay, but you know what I mean? Like I can't.
Yeah. Well,
I'm trying, Father. I'm really trying.
I'm not saying you're not at all. So
it's like I can't.
Apply one of my rules. Apply one of my rules. Don't explain, just describe. Okay? Don't explain. So you don't interpret what is happening. So if a big thought is coming and it is saying thought, just describe it. Don't explain it. Don't create your own narrative on top of what is being experienced.
Experienced. Okay, what is experienced right now is like huge tension.
Yes.
In the body, in somehow in some field, not just in the body, but somehow in my perceptual field, there is tension. Like,
now what makes it huge? How big is it? Like, is it this big, this big? And what is the space in which this hugeness is coming?
it feels like it feels like that's important, as
But
it's
that
taking all the space, but it's not.
feels like is an explanation. You just keep describing it. Just keep describing it. So this contraction is felt in the chest area or wherever. Describe it like that.
I don't know where even, like in some kind of field, it's just like, whoa.
Okay. Yes, yes. Okay. And now try to get that contraction to attack that which witnesses it also. So you are aware or you are perceiving the field in which the contraction is there and it's huge. Now let it become huger. Let it come to that you which is witnessing also. Tell me how much progress it makes.
Not possible.
Try, no, really hard. Let's try. Come on, let's make it possible today. First satsang after a long time. Not possible. Not possible. Okay, so now don't worry about the field in which contraction is there. Worry about that where it's not possible. How big is that?
I can't see the size because it's beyond the size. It just is.
Beyond size. That's beyond size. Does it that because it's beyond size, does it make it really tiny compared to the huge?
Oh.
I mean, let's say, what is it in comparison to that one? The hugeness, let's make it in comparison to that one, which is beyond space. Then what can we say about it?
I don't know, just something doesn't fit. Like, how can I fit something huge into something that does not exist? And it's just doesn't. Oh.
So answering your own question so well. So on the
Sorry, I have a
very good. So now let's use terminology which we use often, which is in front of attention. All of this hugeness is there. Now that which attention is reporting back to, that you say not possible to be affected, but you are that, no? So how does the hugeness or the smallness of that which is on that side of attention affect you?
I don't know. I don't know how.
Look. Don't try to figure it out. Just look. Without sight.
Right now, I could say it does not affect, but it wouldn't be completely true to me. Somehow.
I don't care about whether, because that aspect where you're talking about, I don't care about that aspect. So I only care about what you're discovering right now. Your mind is pulling you back in time over and over again, saying, but after this, I'll be back. I don't care about that stuff. Tell me how that which is witnessing the huge or small contraction, how that can ever be affected by
Okay, I feel that the body is being affected somehow, and that's why somehow that I'm being affected through the body. But wait a minute, I can see that.
Very good.
But in the body, oh God.
Yeah. Tell me whatever may be happening in the body, how does it affect the witnessing?
But I'm looking for.
Take your time. Take as much time as you want. This is for everyone. This is in fact freedom. Keep imagining that I am affected by the perceptions which seem to squeeze me is bondage. To look really and see, hey, but where am I in all of this? Where are you more? On that side of attention or on this side? I know you'll say, but both Advaita, there are no two. So let's say, okay, what seems like the primary home? Which end of attention seems like the primary home? The end where it is reporting back to. What's happening over there?
You asking me?
Everyone. And you.
Just understand.
Okay, let's do one thing. Okay. Where all this battle is happening, send yourself fully over there.
I cannot.
That's quite a shame for the mind. If you can't. Because it wants you fully involved in this. So send everything that you have, every part of you, send it into the battle.
It's impossible.
Impossible. Now the part that you can't send, the part that you can't send, is that your primary home?
It's beyond my home. Like,
Yeah. What will this contraction take from you? What will the mind take from you? If it can't even touch your reality. Some things are dancing in the light of your being. So what?
no, now it's like the thought like, oh, this thing is so fragile. Like,
It's the thought which is fragile, which is already gone. The seeing is still here.
yeah, and something, yeah, it is. Yeah.
Don't become back into giving what your intellect is saying a lot of importance. You see, it'll start by being a comedian for a bit. When it loses importance, you know what it does? It'll try to subtly say, hey, hey, hi, I'm actually a nice guy. Yeah, I make you laugh. So then slowly. Oh, I'm the king and owner of.
Interesting.
Give your nose as much importance as you've given the mind for tomorrow. Okay. It deserves it. Poor nose has been there all your life. You've not looked at it. You've not felt the sensation strongly for years. I promise you. So it deserves some focus. No? What is this stepmotherly behavior towards your nose? What's your nose saying?
Right now, I can see it.
You can observe the sensation. There's actually a yogic practice, no? To keep your attention on the tip of the nose. I learned in art of living. Just keep your attention at the tip of your nose and breathe. Yeah. I promise you, your nose is bigger than your thought. And it's not something about your nose. All our nose. All our So his thought, My nose very big. Why is Ananta picking on me?
Yeah, Ronaldo is just so simple.
Don't be fearful of the future. Don't. I'm with you. I'm with you.
That was very interesting, Father. Very, very. Thank you.
Very, very. Suffering is just a misplacing of importance into one aspect of our being. All our importance, all our value seems to come from just that one aspect of our being. Tiny bundle of thought. I was telling another child actually the other day that I don't hate anything. But if there's something I do hate, it is my children getting bullied by this tiny mind. This tiny mind, just bullying them. I'm so big, I'm gonna get you. Nothing. Nothing. Here's the mind's report about itself. I'm everywhere. You can't escape me. It's like I'm everywhere. So big.
It does feel like that sometimes, Father, because it's like there's like it comes up with something,
Yeah.
then you find new ways to neutralize it, let's say. So then it finds another way, and this the old way of neutralizing is no longer working. So then you're finding another way to neutralize, and this is like like, and I understand maybe this is like the help to actually to get stronger in yourself. It is an exercise in some way, but it's just like, whoa, come on, maybe it's enough. Like, I don't know, I have such a feeling like maybe I'm fed up with it.
Yes, but the merry-go-round seems a lot more dizzy if you take yourself to be the wrong one. What you said is absolutely right. But if you're taking yourself to be, okay, Atma Jyoti has to keep going through this and over, then sometimes I use who am I to get over it? Sometimes am I aware now to get over it? But if it keeps coming back into something which is identified as a body mind, then the merry-go-round seems a lot more dizzying, a lot more spinning. Who is Satsang for? Who is it meant to help? All the pointers. And what you're saying is absolutely right. That I may say one day, what do you know when you know nothing? And in my mind, at least, it's a very potent pointer. So it's where everybody is right. Like that. Then after a few days, yeah, father will say, what do you know? And you know nothing, but my mind is so strong. Then the master has to come up with something else. And something else, and something else. So many seeming master pointings we've come up with in the last 10 years. So it does happen like that. But if we feel like we're using pointers as a body mind to make the life of the body mind easier, then that is what makes the merry-go-round seem more and more and more.
Yes, for sure. But there are as well moments when I guess that's where we all going to. It's like no matter what is perceived, it's like because sometimes there are those attacks and mind says, oh my God, and let's say and the life situations are not as pleasant or something, but there is such a stillness and such a emptiness that just something doesn't register as bad or good or as attack or something. And there are moments like that. And there are those moments like this where it's like, I just can't see it. I can't see it. And I'm like, even I wrote it down the other day, just this, I'm always suffering, or this is coming back, or this is like always happening to me. It's just a thought I actually believed in. And then from this thought, something sprouts to me who's having it. And it's just like, whoa. And
now I just want to tell you one thing. I'm enjoying the report, but having said that, which aspect of your being are you valuing now?
say again?
Which aspect of your being are you valuing now? Is it your nose?
Yes. I love this.
Nose
Just
has a
love
lot.
it. Talk about my nose. I can speak about it. Jesus, write books about it, apparently. Oh, God. Thank you.
Where do we go for value? Where do we go for meaning? Where do we go for meaning is the question. Is the main question. We have one voice which is constantly trying to propose meaning to us. Constantly. You know? There's another voice which is not proposing in this way. So when we leave the first voice, then that voice seems easier to hear. Because the second voice is very patient. Play as you want, play as long as you like. But I'm here for you if you decide to stop playing and troubling yourself. So the instant you drop the reliance on the first one, it is fully apparent to you. Now, this is an important tip for all of you, which is that what insight you will get, many times it is not decipherable to your head. So don't try to squeeze it into your head. Learn to accept the indecipherable in your life. See, a simpler way of saying that is accept the mystery. So, because don't try to decode everything conceptually. When you go to your heart, you may not always have answers which you can spell out, but you'll always find truth. This is the difference between truth and answers. In fact, don't ever try to squeeze it into your head. It will only become adulterated, contaminated. If the flow of satsang was happening this way, heart to head to mouth, you see, it would be very contaminated. It just heart to beard to mouth. Nose to the nose to beard to mouth. We feel like without the head, our heart cannot use our mouth. It cannot use our body, but it can. It is the seat of the Supreme Intelligence which runs this entire universe. What is one mouth? As when you will say, but to speak, I have to use the mind, Father. Why? The intelligence is not strong enough without your mind to use your mouth. It should just be heart to mouth to ear to heart. If it goes from heart to mouth to ear to head, then we are again in trouble.
So where does this, let's say, spiritual journey fit in then?
Nowhere.
Because
just throw it away. Throw it away.
but I heard so much about it. I experienced so much about it.
Yes.
I witnessed so much about it. So just throw it away. I heard teachers speak about it, about some things happening, this, and now throw it away. Ay, ay, ay.
Throw it away.
But I want to, like, sorry, Thad, I'm like being very honest. Like, I wanted to like fit it somewhere, like, I don't know, like put it somewhere. Like,
You can't. Just throw it away. You know, it's just like so. Like sometimes the children have get an attachment to a security blanket or a bear. Then at some point, the parent has to say, "Okay, now you give it to me. You're 55 years old. Now you stop it."
oh god. Yeah, somehow I see it as an idea that oh my god, what. No, my brain would fry it right now.
That's called mind bypass.
But it is like that, you know. Like,
No, what is what? I cannot make a single statement like that. All the statements I make like that, I have to say provisionally we can say, or it's all nonsense. You see, all of that.
oh
I
my
have
god,
never been able to say something is like that.
but it is so funny, Father, because now I'm thinking like whatever I see something in the world, sometimes like, oh yeah, it's just like it is not real, but somehow like I don't know. What I'm trying to say is I don't know, but
No set of concepts, as great as they may be, can replicate even a phenomenal reality. So the ability to say it is like this, we just don't have. And even this is all nonsense.
so wait. Everything that I have experienced till this moment.
Can I just tell you, memory, throw it away.
Oh my god, okay. Nothing.
Everything I have experienced is only a proposal from the repository of the past, which you will only experience in the future. Forget about it, it's all nonsense.
But then, sorry, I'm not giving an answer. But
Have
then,
you ever experienced the past in the past?
only right now.
So some image comes, how do you know it is from the past? Maybe
But
you
then if you asking me to do that, it's basically asking me to deny everything I know about the world,
neither
about
deny nor
myself.
accept. Denial
The
would be, I'm saying just become neutral about everything, open. I'm speaking about the opposite of denial. Just fully open, you see, to make a version and to say that is how it is the denial. Okay, you have to hear me slowly on this one. Feel like to have the version of it is an acceptance of it. To have the version of it is the denial of it. If it is, you see, if it is, so suppose this is, then why do I need to have a version? These are spectacles that I've had for the last 3 years and this is what happened to them. I don't need it, no? That is my denial of looking at them because then I'm looking at my mind. So if this is, if it has any tangibility, then it just is. So my idea about it is my denial of it. My lack of acceptance of it is my idea of it because I don't want to deal with it. I want to deal with my abstract idea because it's too much for me to handle. So the world is too much for the mind to handle. So it just says, oh, the world is full of suffering, or the world is only like this. But the world is everything, you see. But because the mind cannot process everything, it makes a version which it finds palatable. And that is the denial of the world, which is the mind. So what you are calling acceptance and denial is the opposite of what it is. You see, if something is, then why do you need to deal with your mental version of it? Why do you have to deal with the storybook version of it? Then you can deal with it directly. No? So that's what I meant by don't explain, describe. Meet it as it is, even phenomenal things. Don't work with it at a mental level because that is you're working with the denial of it. If I met somebody from Slovenia, you see, and I said, okay, now I didn't like their interaction. So I say, oh, Slovenians are always like this. Huh? I met 3 of them, all 3 behave like that. So Slovenian. So the 4th Slovenian that comes, I'm not meeting them. I'm just meeting my mental version of it. Oh, Slovenian must be like this. You see? So that is denial, no? That is not acceptance. Because I'm dealing with my notion of how things are instead of meeting that one fresh. You see? So meet everything with full openness, with zero denial as it is, instead of trying to shelter yourself and secure yourself in your ideas of how things are, because that is the denial of the meeting. Where is the past right now? Why are you scared of it? That you have to meet it as motions of what happened.
No, it's quite interesting because I hear you, I understand you,
Yeah.
and I see it, what you're saying.
Just clarify for yourself what is acceptance and what is denial. To make a conceptual idea about something is not to accept it, it is actually to deny it, to just limit it. At least that much you can see that it is to limit it. That you take a version of it that seems most likely to you or palatable to you, and you say, this is how it is. And then you're only working with that storybook version instead of ever meeting it.
Wow, I can only say wow, Father, wow, my mind is blown away. Like,
My
I
work
almost
here,
can't believe it. I can't believe it. Like,
that's the trouble with the notion of spiritual bypassing or spiritual avoidance. And because they sound like big fancy words, people just take them on. You see, I don't know, spiritual bypassing, nice word. Somebody intelligent must have made it. No? So what is it actually? The, of course, there is spiritual avoidance, but you're replacing one concept with another concept. You see? But in satsang like this, I'm not giving you a replacement concept. I'm getting you to become completely open and naked and face it. It is the opposite of denial. You see? But they may be like, oh, he's saying there is no such thing as this disorder or that disorder. I'm saying leave all of that terminology that you know about it, meet it as it is fresh here and now. Is that a denial? Is it a bypass? You meet it, no? The denial is to presume that you know. Or you meet. Most people will not come to satsang because they have an idea of what spiritual masters are like. Is that an acceptance or a denial? It's a denial because they cannot give it a chance. They want to live in their mental version of what they think is true. So that is a denial of the possibility that some opening can happen by your coming to satsang. So all prejudice is based on this. All prejudice is based on this. We may say Englishmen are like this, or English women are like this, or Americans are like this. Based on what we think we know, because of the same inductive reasoning. It's happened to me 3 times in the past. I had an American boyfriend 3 times. So fourth time I'm staying away from Americans. Isn't it? Is that acceptance or denial? That's what we have to look at. I'm not saying you keep trying American boyfriends. Okay? I'm just using metaphors. You can't move too far.
so now, like coming up, like, so what about?
Why do you have to? Okay, let me just finish something else.
Okay.
So why do you have to rely on conclusions about the past? If the past has any fire, it can come to you now and show you, okay, this is how I was from the pool of repository that we are relying on anyway, called memory. Let it show up.
But then what about the next? Where does this fit in? Next moment.
Same thing, the fear about the future. Also then, so this is what all of this is about. We feel like in the mind's version of the story, I need the narrative from the past so that I can make a plan for the future. The minute from the narrative from the past is taken away, you feel like, what the hell am I supposed to do now? The past is gone. So now how will I deal with the future? I am too naked. I am too naked. I have no plan. I have no ability. Something may come that I'm unprepared for. You see? So it's fear both ways. So we
No, but that's more like a notion that the future is there, that the next is there,
yeah,
rather
which we've
than.
never met,
Mhm.
which we've never met, isn't it? So we've got into a denial of our timelessness by
Haven't
making,
we met? We always meet, no? But always in the now.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. We've never met the future. But because that is too much for the mind to handle, because our timeless experience is too much for the mind to handle, it has to put this timelessness into a stream of past, present, and future. And that is a denial of our timelessness. Because it is too much right now to handle, that is why the mind gets into the storybook. And the storybook has to have past, present, future. You see, I have been coming to Satsang for so many years. These are the things I've learned. Today I came to Satsang with Ananta and he said this. Then, therefore, tomorrow I'm better prepared. When these things happen, what I have to do is focus on my more. Something. No. So we put into linearity that which has never been linear. Meet yourself fully
Mhm,
now.
mhm, mhm.
Meet yourself fully now and show me the stream of time. Show me the apparent arrow of time.
No, I don't know. Somehow I see it. Yeah.
Don't squeeze anything into your head, my dear. Whatever I'm saying doesn't need to be understood in that way. Can't make orange juice out of this stuff and store it there. Oranges are too big.
Yeah, and the most like the storage to carry around, it's not, it's heavy.
Good.
Feels heavy.
Let the words do their own job. You have zero role in this. What do you feel like you can understand from what I'm saying? Nothing. But there's an aspect of this, aspect of your own being where these words are coming from. So when you let go of the attempt to understand, you will meet yourself there.
Yes, maybe what I mean is like more like I can recognize what you say,
Yes, yes, yes.
and I see maybe the
Just
mind or the aspect of me trying to fit it somehow newly or something.
So the words are potent enough for the recognition to happen. But we feel like something worthwhile only happens once we are able to construct it for ourselves in our head. And that is the tendency I'm trying to chop away. We feel like progress or learning or understanding is only happening once I'm able to take that so-called experience into a conceptual understanding. Without that, you're so free. So free.
Yes, and actually that came to me like even the conceptual understanding, if you have it, it's always changing. Always. Like the weather, always changing. So which one is the right one? Idea about myself is always changing. So which one is the right one? My
That to want peace by relying on the mind is to want peace after, or to have a stable life after tying yourself to a drunken donkey. Cannot do it. Always changing. You want a life of rock and roll? That's it. You want peace? No chance. You're going to have a conceptual framework which will which will give your life stability. Forget it. It's like saying I'm going to build my two-bedroom house with cards or something.
Yes, Father, you have no idea how much I'm tired of it all, like of
Get
this
fully tired.
conception.
Fully tired. Get fully tired and throw it away.
Even, yeah. I can say spiritually, even throw away the tiredness itself. Like,
especially throw away the journey, the seeker, the experiences, and your conclusions out of them, throw it all away. There is no value there.
And it comes throw it away in the future. But then again, it's just you see how it works. Like I will throw away in the future. What's wrong right now if I'm so tired then? Just like
Don't look through your head, my dear. Look through your nose. Is there time without your head?
no.
Meet that answer. It came from your own mouth. Meet it. It's magnificent. Don't conclude. Don't understand. Head is good when seen through the nose. Move on to the next one, my love. This was very good. I love this conversation. Let's go to Matazina.
Hello, Father.
Oh, my dear.
Thank you for the satsang today.
Welcome. So,
Now, in these last moments of your conversation with Atma Jyoti, I think a question came. Which is like, I need your help to see what's here to be recognized.
don't look through your mind. Don't look through your mind. Now, what do you see?
Now, when you say don't look through my mind, I seem to have an idea that I don't log in to anything.
Let me elaborate a bit so that no further confusion gets created. It's almost as if we perceive and then we rely on what the interpreter is saying about the perception to frame a version of our reality. So, without this interpretive process, what is your experience right now?
of being.
Beautiful. Everyone looking for this, especially in spirituality.
It,
But
it seems that can be easily shaken off, but some sort of
shake it without your mind. Let's try to shake it. Let's meet all of this today. Let's not just fall for the mind trick. Let's try to make it happen. Okay, so your being is here. Shake your being. I've never seen a shaking being. Can we play some disco music? What we need to do to shake this being?
you can't shake the being without the mind.
Yeah. And with the mind, okay, use your mind and shake your being.
We did that for the past 2 hours.
It's done. It's done it, you're saying? For the past 2 hours it happened?
We've done this for the past 2 hours.
Yes. It doesn't. So what are you saying? It doesn't happen or it does happen?
I'm saying I don't even want to go there. So.
But don't be scared. I'm with you. I'm with you. Because the mind will play these figures. No? Right now it's okay. But if I come back, your being will go shivering. What kind of God is it? I'll make it shiver. It's not Shiva, it's shiver. Shake up your being. Let's see what that looks like.
My mind wanted to say, what's this fear about? Like,
your mind itself is yeah, you tell me. You know, no fear without the mind. So the mind wants to know from you.
I think it's me identified with the body mind who.
Where is you? Where is that you? Where is it? Let me put on my specs. Where is that you identified? I don't see anything like that. All clear. The tests are all clear. An idea is an appearance. An appearance by definition is fiction as opposed to reality. So in the idea, you could be anything. You could be shaken, you could be fearful, you could be born, you could die. But all of these ideas. What is true about you which is not an idea? And where can we go for such an answer? That I feel like is the primary point. Because I may be asking what is true, and you may be going to the mind, which is the whole point of Satsang, saying don't go for the wrong instrument, for the wrong measurement. Where to go for the truth? Is it too bright? Is it too bright?
How can one apply this every single?
It's not for you to apply. Who do you want to help? This is very important. What is all of this for? Who wants to apply this?
This one.
Throw that one. That one that wants to apply God so it can be happy. Oh, I'm suffering a bit. Let me call God in. God
I actually call him. That's the purpose of the prayer.
God is the magic genie. No, 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 come. Okay, how much suffering? It is suffering. Right? Genie, please come. So who is God in this? If God is meant to come like the servant like this every time we are unhappy and make us happy and then it can go away. So who's God? We are God. We are God who are calling the servant. And we are the gods who are calling the servant, but we know now that, oh, the way to call the servant is because it's been serving us for a long time, it's a bit spoiled, So you have to call it with humility and it's a please come, like that. But it is there to serve us. What makes us so special? That God should come and serve us. Who is that one? Who are we helping?
Our God within.
Say. Say.
I said our God within.
What help does that mean? So it's like, oh, my God within is in trouble, so let me call the big God outside. So big guy has to come. Shiva, please come. Little Shiva is in trouble.
What I felt now is that the mind comes up with all these experiments and just co-opts the being.
Correct.
And while he's playing along, he says, I got you there.
Yeah, exactly. Like children, like children
He's just
doing
playing
these
along
stories.
in an
And,
authentic way,
exactly.
and then he says, I got you.
Exactly. But the worst part is, and I just remind me of something, is that soon it's forgotten that it's a play. It can feel like a battle. And I remember with Vedika it happened that one day she came to Satsang and she just had such a deep insight, and she woke out of that insight with one statement. She said, there are no battles to fight. I love that. I remember that. I remember she remembered. Just these fictional battles, right and wrong, good and bad, desire and aversion, all of these. What could God be messing up? What could God be messing up? And if God is messing up, then who can help? What could we be getting wrong, whatever that we is? Or what could we be getting right, which God is getting wrong? All our shoulds are based on that.
All our?
Shoulds and should nots.
Ah.
This should happen, this should not happen. Based on that, isn't it? Like we have access to a greater intelligence than God does. So our prayer then can become, I'm not saying we must not pray, but if we have to pray, then let's pray for openness, let's pray for acceptance, rather than praying for outcomes.
Father, can you talk a bit about the importance of being in the presence of the physical, in the physical presence of the Master?
Whatever makes you open and empty is auspicious. So if you find that in the physical presence of the Master, you're more open and empty, physical presence. If you find that Zoom satsang makes you open and empty, Zoom satsang. If you close your eyes and experience the master in your heart, that makes you open and empty. And whatever.
Thank you.
And
Can I,
remember the
can I,
the the intelligence which needs to know all of this to run your life already knows all of this. What will you do with this information?
nothing.
There's nothing you can do. Nothing moves, not a blade of grass, they say, no? Without the will of consciousness. So suppose I tell you it's super important to be in the physical present, no? And then, but life is not moving that way. The intelligence is not running. You see? Or if I say, no, no, it's not important at all, then all of them sitting here, like, why have I moved cities and come and lived? So there's no answer like that. There's no answer like that. So that is again, we give too much importance to our ability to understand. So whichever way life is running, whichever way God is running your life is the most auspicious for you. The intervention that God needs to guide God in the right path about your life.
uh,
It's like saying, what is that movie? Everybody sending God an email. No? Bruce Almighty or the one before that? Accept it, accept it, accept it.
there was one thing that Guruji said.
What is happening? I want to know which is not in your mind.
Nothing happens. That's not in my mind. Everything happens in my mind.
Nothing is coming from where?
Nothing comes from God, and everything comes from my mind.
Did you spend some time in a Zen monastery? Or
Can you repeat that?
did you spend some time in a Zen monastery?
I think maybe it's the presence of the Thai master that has hit over me. I don't know. I haven't. Guruji said to me
Leave
something
your
that
head. Leave your head.
I'm. There is an I who works hard on doing that.
There's a lag. What is he saying?
I'm working hard on it.
You don't have to work hard. It's gone.
It's
Don't
gone.
invite it now into the party. It's gone. It's not true that you have to work hard to be rid of the mind. It's gone. Now it has to call you back. Hey, I've got something nice for you. What about surrender? Here, come, come, come. Forget about it. You remember you were here when we were doing that fresh?
I love that satsang.
Good, no? You played it also. Yes. Thank you for that. So then how are you caught up in the mind? The mind is, you have to go and invite it. No? You have to look back and say, calm. Okay, calm.
There is still a desire to control things in my life and in some
Leave
other
your
people.
head. Leave your head. Where are you able to make these conclusions?
With here.
Leave it. Leave it. Like, I don't care, you don't care.
Ah,
There's so much fun without it. Come to my playground.
You don't have to say it twice. It's okay. I'm coming.
Come on then. Don't go back. I'm watching.
Please do.
A real creepy. That was not the intention. Big brother is watching.
Please do. Both of you. You and Guruji behind.
That will decide amongst ourselves. You relax. Don't worry about it. Don't go to your head.
It's funny that my mind also wanted to draw the conclusion that, oh, so I can do anything and it's right.
That's what it got from all of this.
Ah,
Remember that it's not important what you understood from this conversation. Because
I
whatever
know.
you understood is not what the conversation was about.
I,
It's a different type of classroom.
thank you for the different type of classroom.
Very well. Very good.
Thank you.
Always welcome.
Jai Gurudev.
Very good.
And yes, please keep watching.
Keep watching.
Yes.
Huh?
Watching.
Watching.
The big brother.
Oh, that way, that way. I already forgot what. All my, all my.
All my love.
Okay, now let's go quickly. Because now if you all heard the instruction, they all apply to all of you also. Shivam, come. It's not unmuting.
Hello.
Hello, my love.
Hello, Father. I wanted to say hello.
Very good. Very
So nice to see you again. Uh, I don't know what.
Okay, now don't go to your head for whatever
No,
is.
no, 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 no.
Allow the mouth to be moved by your heart.
Yeah,
I want to hear some satsang words from you, not the head.
yeah.
It's too much pressure. Too much pressure.
I wanted to say. Yeah, apart from the what the mind is saying, it's so. If I don't listen to the mind, it's so easy, no?
Is it easy?
It is easy. There is nothing to do.
Is there, or is that a glimpse into what is there and going back and conclusion from the mind?
Sorry.
I know. I'm just pressing on this point again.
Yeah. Please.
So what can happen is that we see the pure effortlessness of it, no, and that we reflect as a conclusion in our mind. But actually, this is neither difficult nor easy. It's nothing. It's like not in time, not in space, none of this. So, of course we use these words to communicate. Of course we use these words to speak. But reality is just.
Yeah. What I wanted to say is that it is easy in the sense that the only problem is when to believe in the mind. Apart from that, there is nothing to
Nothing. Yeah. Bellissimo. Bellissimo. Ah. What I want to know from my head is when you're coming to Bangalore.
Father, you have to talk with the Italian
Government.
government. Yes, here. I would love to come now.
They don't allow from Italy now?
Well, I didn't check today,
Yeah.
but it seems that it's not yet possible
Yes. Oh.
for Italians, or maybe it's only for me. I don't know. I need to.
Just ask specifically what.
Yeah, I need to check better.
It's not yet open. We have some information on this. Europe is open.
Well, but not all the because well,
Not all-
I will check. I will check again.
Good. We heard that in some country in Europe they've declared that there's no pandemic.
Yeah, it's true. It's
Denmark or something.
yeah. In Italy, is not yet the case.
Europe is opening up very fast now.
Yeah, in Italy is not yet the case, but I think it will be because things are changing. Yeah, and so let's see. Okay,
Right.
thank you,
Yeah.
Father. And and yeah, yeah.
You froze up, my dear. We didn't hear anything after hi. Just for us here? Oh, it's my connection. I see.
Am I froze?
Yes, yes. What's happened is that we're doing some renovation on the Satsang side and we don't know where our internet box is. So we're just using the hotspot from my phone and my phone is
Okay.
going to just die any moment now. So we don't know where the cable is, where the box is.
You don't know. You don't need to know anything, Father.
It worked well so far. Yeah, we put this in. Oh, put charge. That's what my father told me when I sat on the hot seat. He said, "Don't know. And your knowing will just mess it up anyway." That's all I've been saying. Oh, oh. Let's go to Keisha.
Hi, Father. You said to say hi, so I'm saying hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I just want to say, what was that?
Did you do that podcast thing that Amba was doing? Has it happened already?
Yeah. Yeah, she posted it today.
How did she? Okay. I'm going to hear this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really great. It was there was kind of the belief that speaking about it would diminish something or an understanding, and so there was kind of fear behind it. But she kind of created the space where she allowed me to talk about it in such a way where it was strengthening this understanding. So it was really beautiful, and I'm really grateful to her for approaching me with that. So, and I just want to say that the months of not having satsang together have been actually such a huge blessing, because it feels like it's really strengthened this sense of sangha, and it's really strengthened the connection with you as well. And so it's been really lovely. And,
So good.
yeah, and I'm really grateful for that. And I think I want to speak on behalf of the whole sangha that you're just such a blessing for us, and to be so accessible in the way that you are is so beautiful and rare. And we know that you're busy, that your form is busy. And so just thank you for taking the time to continuously point to this. We love you so much. We love you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Such a beautiful report. And when is the report? When does Kisha arrive? 15th? Not
The
far.
16th. The 16th at midnight.
So good. Oh my God. See you soon. Let's go to Satyam.
Namaste, Ananta-ji.
Namaste, my dear.
I'm so happy to see you again in the form. It's a blessing, really. And I really have not much words. I can feel this love which you are, and there's a lot happened in the last month, especially with the body, because as I have a issue with the heart, so there were hospital visits and CT scans and all the left and the rights of life.
Yeah.
And in this time, even this thing which was going on, like, can you stop being, even this was not happening at all. Just whatever was happening really.
Yeah.
And on the other side, I have a ticket for 16th of February by your grace to India.
Oh, yes?
Yes.
Yes. Wonderful.
Yeah. So with your grace, I want to come to be in your physical presence. If
You
you
must come.
Yeah. So, and the last bit is this Corona. It's a 72-hour. You have to have a negative test before flying.
Okay.
So that has to turn negative. That's all.
So is it positive at the moment?
Sorry?
Is it positive or something at the moment?
No. I have been tested 3 times. It was negative.
Okay.
But I have a little, this Mr. Doubting Head, I think all these machines are just crap.
Possible.
So that's why. But I have a full intention to be there, and packing is happening here. And this gift which you have here.
We had another one of my children going to come, but she recovered from Corona, and but it seems like some cells still there in the body, so the test still come positive for some time. So she's not able to fly because of that. So these things are happening a bit.
In Denmark, if you have positive, then I think you cannot check for another 3 months.
Oh.
Yeah, it will stay positive for at least 2-3 months. You're not allowed. So for me, this is it. And the 16th, I bought the flight already. So 14th, I go for the test, 15 results, and then on the plane. So, and thank you for, I have really no words, but still thank you for your presence. This is priceless.
Words are received in my heart. Very beautiful. Thank you. See you soon.
Yes, see you soon.
To go? Oh, yeah. I did. Now you're double immune. Triple. Every way. What's it mean? Well, everything is good. You're coming back. Most of the children here have already had this thing, the COVID thing, and one of the symptoms is this fatigue. Body gets weak, so let's go to Jada.
Hello.
With the
So direct, but I have nothing to say. I don't know now. Just so beautiful to see you again. And when we see when you like again, like it's so English is gone after not. But yeah.
It didn't seem like so much time gap was there. Is that what you're saying? That being together like this again doesn't seem like there was a break.
Sort of, Father, please say it again.
I was just saying that if I understood correctly, you're saying that being together again, it doesn't seem like there was a big gap or something in the middle.
I don't know now. Yeah, like I cannot see Father. I miss Father. I miss Father. But when I see you, it's just so natural. You know, yeah, it's just so natural, so beautiful. Yeah. I don't know now. This is your message. I know that you read this, and I don't know what to say about this, but I don't know why it's in that way, but for me it just plays for me to lead you or Guru, nothing else. pray Father before this. That there is some distance between me, thing for me. Sorry, I say it again. I don't know what is the problem. Or good?
Not good, but it's about audible. Yeah, just say.
Okay.
Wonderful.
For I just realized that I have some distance with towards Guruji, but it's not at all. I just feel that there is distance and offered it wholeheartedly. And after this thing comes, and also towards you too, it's like, you know, yeah, it's like about choosing Guruji, like a dilemma, you know, between you and me. And before this, I doesn't have this thing at all. Yeah, it feels feel good because I don't even have to have this kind of, I don't want kind of thing. Sorry, it's gone.
Yeah, it's not so audible, my dear. But I feel like don't have to worry about things which are beyond the human realm. Don't worry about.
Yeah, I don't sometimes. But when I meet with you again, it's just, I love you so much.
I love you. Can't hear you well at all. So. Okay, let's go to Adrian.
Hello, Father. So nice.
Good.
Nice to see you.
Good.
I really resonate with what you say about meeting life, meeting reality as it is without interpretation. And because I see now that in a way, my anxiety about life and panic attacks and fear about the future comes from this, that I cannot meet life without my labels or my avoidance or some
Very good.
thank you for
to spot these things, to spot this reliance on narratives, reliance on time, then those could lead to mental conditions like just conceptual condition. And to see that just full, open and empty, to remain in the unborn is to meet life fully, full, with the pure divine intelligence of your heart. Nothing is missing. Nothing is missing. Yeah.
and also I can see that I have certain comfort limits or comfort zones, and if I go beyond that limit, like some anxiety comes or some fear. And I can see also that there's some fear of relating to self-image and fear of not being judged by others, and is related to I just offer this to the fire of the seeing and of truth.
Beautiful. Very, very. Once you see that you are without any limits, you can be bound by conceptual limits only when you take yourself to have limits. So as you're seeing that you yourself don't have limits, then you will not be able to make these comfort zones so easily.
Yeah.
It's just a dissolution of the fear about what life may bring or what may happen. And wanting approval and wanting love from others. Those kind of fears can play out in this way. We'll be fine. We'll be very good at it.
Yes, it's good. It's good for me to see that everything is your grace and God's grace, and just to not believe that life is against me.
Yes.
It's
Yes. Nothing is opposed to you. Nothing is opposed to you.
sometimes there are some ideas that I should prove myself or have be approved by others, like you say. I haven't had so much success in this worldly life. I for the last many years I've been like cocooned in my own. I heard one time Guruji say about when a tree is young, it is good to have some protection until it's strong enough to face the winds, and I feel this has been my life for some time now, and I'm grateful for this, that has helped me to dedicate my energy to myself and to satsang. And
full love, full blessings. And all the refuge that we need is available in God's heart, in the Sadguru's heart, in the Sangha's heart, everything. We're fully protected. Actually, Sangha itself, in a way, is a safe space, or is supposed to be a safe space, without judgment, without rich and poor, without hierarchy, without all of these things. Just a space in which we can just be so safe and unjudged. Of course, it mostly it ends up pushing a lot of buttons and all these things play out, and that is the human condition. It plays out in the Sangha as well. But really, if it is going towards something, the Sangha is evolving towards something, it is towards openness collectively as well.
thank you. Thank you.
Let's go to Georgina.
Hello, Father.
Hello, my dear.
Nothing to say, just to meet you.
So now, what is it, 14th?
The 21st.
21st.
Yeah. So,
And it's a one-way ticket.
absolutely. No way back.
Feeling good? Body is feeling all right, my dear? It's recovering well?
Yes, it's been feeling good for a long time, but you're right about the exhaustion, feeling tired. But I started taking tea, ragweed tea, 3 days ago, and
what tea is that?
It's ragweed. I'll write it on the.
It's a legal weed.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, we can all drink it. It's cheap.
That's maybe good information for all of us, because this body also by 5:36 it starts feeling the exhaustion.
Yes, and it's like exhaustion is not even the right word for it. It's like you just want the bed and nothing else. But yeah, this is actually helping. I take 1 or 2 a day, and in 2 or 3 days it starts acting. Yeah.
So get some of this ragweed tea when you come.
I will bring someone. Thank you so much. Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Can't wait to have you here. All of us are looking forward to it.
I'll be there soon. Thank you, Brad.
Let's go to Beatrice. Are you connected on audio? Because it doesn't give me the option to ask to unmute. There you go.
Namaste, Father.
Namaste, namaste.
I just want to say that I love you so much.
Oh, thank you. I love you too. Full love, full blessing. Let's go to Marine.
Can you hear me?
It's a little soft, my dear. A little louder, please.
Speak up a bit.
This is good. This is good.
Yeah. Thank you. Big love, big blessing on you and on your body and on your life. I feel very blessed to be here. Find myself here in this moment, and yeah. Actually, I left Facebook a few months ago, so I didn't get the regular updates about satsangs, and somehow I also didn't have the time to check in. And just this afternoon, I was called and I felt drawn. So it's very special to realize, actually, there was a absence apparently that I didn't even, and some God just called me. It's beautiful to affirm this connection deep in the heart, and that life just takes care of everything without any support needed. So it's amazing. Yeah.
So good to hear that. So good.
Yeah. And briefly, little report. Yesterday, I met a very old friend from my high school days that I didn't speak to for 8 years. And around the time that my life shifted, we disconnected, and also there was quite a lot of it was really a break, kind of a lot of judgment from me to him in the time, and him to me. So it was really this kind of thing that happens with old friends.
Yeah.
And so in advance of this meeting, this reunion, I felt mostly curious, but also a little bit of anticipation, curiosity to what would that. He also has a very strong personality, very strong-willed and strong opinions and powerful confronting personality. And we took a long walk, and it was just so beautiful. It was really so touching and beautiful to spend the morning with him, and to just feel only love and only love for him. And it was so healing in a way, you know, because when I disconnected from him, there was also from my side this judgment kind of to whatever he was embodying or something. But to really to feel kind of just love for him was so beautiful. And I just thank, you know, Grace and Guruji and for this path of love.
Full blessings.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to Gemma.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. I didn't know it was Satsang today, so I get in very late. Thank you. Thank you very much to see you again. I'm very glad to see you again. I want to post something because I spent like around 10 days, like 2-3 weeks ago, that I suddenly I was very clear, very light, like even walking, it seems like I was walking in the clouds. And but what happened, I was feeling very nice inside and very with a great joy, with a great peace, very peaceful with myself. But suddenly everything around me turns, it seems like it turns against me. My family, the people I met in the street, but very strange things that I thought, wait, take care, because this is something about what psychiatrists will tell you. This you are going up in bipolar stuff. And even my psychiatrist says that I was not, I don't know how to say in English this, I was, when you don't have too much attention, when your attention is not good, that you are, yes. And, but he didn't, I asked, why are you saying that? And he didn't answer me. He says that he told me 3 times and he didn't want me to answer me again. I don't know. But what happened is that I get afraid because it seems like people was, this is a little bit, I don't know if this is a disorder, but it's like, I felt like I was very open, but that people was like saying me things a little bit, maybe it was a little bit in between this kind of mental disorder that they say I have. I can remember now because it's like 3 weeks that I spent like this piece and like this, and now I find okay as a person, I would say, but it's like this strange, this different peace, this different kind of joy. Even when you are doing things, it's like, what's going on? It's so easy. It's like I realized like my left hand that I don't pay attention normally was working very easily, like doing, and I was saying, wow, I'm doing things with my left hand very easily, and I never realized that, and things like this, no. And I was feeling fine, and I was not excited at all, just in peace, but moving very sweet, very light, very, and for me, everything, no, like the light of the sun when it raise up, or or the sounds of the nature, the birds, the everything. But when I was in between a lot in the city, because I live in a small village, when I was in the city with around surrounded with many people, I couldn't stand that, because I felt like the people was crazy, but was crazy against me also. And then I thought, well, hey, take care, Gemma. Maybe you have to take antipsychotics now because you're going, I don't know where. And and with these things, I think I get a little bit afraid, and suddenly in few days it went off very slowly. It went off, and I don't have these feelings inside me. I feel okay now. I feel a little bit anxiety because I had to move from the flat I was living to another, to my parents' house, from my parents' house to the new one I'm now. And all these things, all these movements, all these things, very rational and material movements, and makes me, I don't know, maybe helps to get out of this kind of, I will say, state. So I would like if you could tell me something about this, and because I thought like, okay, this is like it's like feeling grace very close, feeling as I am great, as I am the self, feeling the self as I am the self, but very very close. But this is even a feeling that probably it goes, but it's too nice feeling. I know when it goes. So I would like if you could say something about this, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All my love to you, and I'm so happy to see you happy, smiling, nice haircut, everything looking so nice. Very nice. And I was listening very closely when you were talking about this, where you were talking about the sounds of nature and everything was so alive and beautiful, and it kind of reminded me of. I often say this after I met Guruji, I saw a flower for the first time. It just felt like, oh, it's always been like this. It's always been so beautiful and so alive and full of life. And it's when you were talking about the way you were moving and things, it reminded me a lot of that actually. Very, very beautiful. But I'll just say, don't be scared of the switch if it happens sometimes and it doesn't seem so beautiful and seems a bit this thing. Then life in a way is a bit of this, dealing with the ups and the downs. So from what I see you after a few months, you look very good, and so happy to see this, and may grace bless you with more and more of that openness. May you find that actually there's not so much difference between the sound of beautiful birds. I may sound crazy, okay? But there's not so much difference between sound of beautiful birds and sound of traffic. I know the Bangalore when they laugh at me and everything like this, but without judgment, no? Everything in God's creation is very beautiful, actually.
But it was like all my senses were increased.
Yes.
Like I could listen things that I never pay attention about, but even this all these senses when I was in between crowded surrounding of people, it was crazy. It was like I was afraid of the people, because I feel like people saying me things, or people looking things, and I could like if I could read the minds of what they are thinking, and all was to increase the beautiful and the ugly. Yes. So I get afraid, because this is what the psychiatric says, oh, you are not fine, you have to be locked in the psychiatric. So I have this, because I have this background. It's like I take like an attention that it becomes like a control. So this space of very easy, I turn it in control, like, take care, Gemma. So how can I do that to don't, I don't know if I explain.
I would feel like my heart is saying that grace is taking care, grace is taking care of everything. In terms of the other state where you feel like, people are coming to attack and all of these, I don't know whether I'm educated enough to be able to comment on those kind of states. I have not had much experience with this kind of state myself, so not able to speak much on that. But the contrasting state seems like a lot of openness and grace. And overall in life, I know that a divine intelligence is running that. So, but specifically, how to deal with that kind of situation and things, I'm not so sure because I've not had the taste of it firsthand here, and I don't want to presume something and offer that to you. But more and more, I want to rely on just the reminder that just as much emptiness as you can find. There are times where it seems impossible, and that's why I didn't want to comment so much on it, because if it's impossible, then I don't want to just give you something which is so difficult to do. So, but if you feel like whatever is possible to remain as open and empty as possible, even in those kind of situations, would be the advice that is coming up from here. But you have to take it with a pinch of salt, because it is not coming from verified experience.
Mm-hmm. Yes, well, I'm very grateful because there were few days that I couldn't go out because all these feelings. I was feeling like I was not myself. I mean, as a Gemma. So, but at the same time, I was feeling the other people, but in a badly way. So I couldn't go out. So now I'm grateful because this it passed, but I don't have this feeling of lightness and this nice feeling of this peace, this intense peace. I don't have this. Maybe it's good because it's the way when I'm in a crowd with a lot of people, I don't have these senses through the other people, and I try to in working with mind, of course, like seeing other people's as the self also, which is something that it's very difficult for me because when I was in that state, I felt like this is not me. Something is moving along, and look how easy and how light is the body, and how the senses are very open. But it was too much. It was like too much for to accept the surround the other people. It was more for with the other people, not with animals or plants or whatever, no. So but now it's like, okay, I'm like back a little bit like with Gemma, and I had to do a lot of movements as Gemma, and 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 of course it's like I can it dissolve in memory, not the state. I have the remember of the feeling, but no. I don't have the feeling already, the same feeling I had, and I wonder if do I have to to sense this way to be more like centered in the self, the true I am, or it doesn't matter, or not. Those feelings are not the point that give you. I mean, I understand that I'm the self, even with I have these feelings or not. But it's like when I had that feelings, I felt, oh yes, I'm the self. I'm the true self. I'm pure awareness. Yes, I'm pure. I'm pure awareness. It's true. So it was like the senses gave me the confirmation that without these senses so amplify or so open or whatever, there's the doubt. I cannot feel all the time that I forget and I'm Gemma again and I'm thinking again about how I work and how I do and how, so I become more Gemma, no, without that way of it's that called open. What happened? I don't know if I explained very well.
So the thing with beautiful spiritual experiences is that we can get attached to them, but there's no way we can recreate them. No? So what you can do in a way is just to not take yourself to be the person as much as possible. And then if grace has to bring you back in such a state, then grace will do that. There's no way to control or determine whether these things will happen again. So, but trust that whatever is being given to you is been planned by a supreme intelligence that is running your life. So just remain in that trust, and you're starting to have beautiful insights and experiences which are confirming the presence of a greater divinity. And my blessing and love is so that only amplifies more and more in your lives, and you have all most auspicious.
Thank you.
Very good. Okay, last one, Christina.
I have no question. You answered the questions already.
So good. So good. I feel you right here. Even without exchanging many words, I realized that things are hitting home, and I'm so happy. Full love, full blessing.
So much love.
Big hug, all my love. Doesn't look like there's much time for a bhajan, so my family's been calling me often. So, to all of you, I'm so happy to see all of you. Thank you all so much for being in Satsang today. Sadhguru Shri Muji Baba ki Jai. Sadhguru Shri Ananta-Part ki Jai. Guru Kripa Kevala.